Hello everyone, this is Chris Herrera and today I will be doing a presentation on sustainable economic development. So what is sustainable economic development? The term sustainable development has undergone several transformations since the term was first coined in the 1980s. The term sustainable development has met criticism for being too vague. Nevertheless, the private and public sectors, along with societal sheep herding, has adopted the concept and has morphed into green jobs or a green movement. Major corporations have used this term as a marketing tool to increase brand loyalty, and the public recycles a few plastics from their waste, and all is well. Sustainable development as a mainstream movement aims to address the problems of production, distribution, and consumption characterizing relations between Western and developing countries. That is, meeting the resource needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to do the same. Sustainable economic development aims to enact real progress towards the degradation of the planet's resources, not branding or marketing purposes, nor suburbanites that recycle. In other words, sustainable economic development is an applied critique of humanity's overconsumption of the planet's resources. There is, however, an incredible challenge to bringing theory to action. There's a real problem in that third world countries have been in perpetual civil war, disease, and corruption coupled with centuries of human and land exploitation. Once the land of a people is no longer arable, mass migration ensues into more populated areas. This will inevitably lead to metropolitan areas being strained of its own resources. This has been and will continue to occur globally. An example closer to home may be the Appalachia region. The resources there were exploited, the biodiversity and the people were affected, and the people had to choose to either migrate to another region with resources or stay and succumb to death due to poor health and lack of basic resources. Population rates that are increasing every year, and a wealth gap becoming wider, and the continuance of land degradation will eventually reach a point of no return for these third world countries. And according to an article titled The Sustainable Development Agenda, authored by William Wood, issues that sustainable development hopes to solve are sustained agricultural production, conserve natural resources, protect biodiversity, broaden access to clean water while decreasing loss of arable land, prevent and mitigate natural disasters, reduce poverty, adapt to projected climate changes, and rely on more efficient, cleaner, and affordable energy sources. Now, these goals coincide with global acknowledgement of the sustainability of the planet and humanity. The Sustainable Development Goals that were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a call to action for people worldwide to address 5 critical areas of importance by 2030: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And I won't go through all 17 of them, but just to hit on a few of these real quick. Number 1, no poverty. Number 2, zero hunger. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Number 13, climate action. So these issues facing underdeveloped countries are being exacerbated moment by moment. If the underdeveloped countries do not solve some of these pressing issues, then the poverty gap will increase to a point where humanity is on borrowed time. And as geographers, we understand that everything is related to everything. These underdeveloped nations cannot make massive changes with regard to poverty and economic mobility without investment from developed nations. Without investment from developed nations, large-scale human migration will occur. Humans innately seek out resources for survival. Rural areas will become less arable, and metropolitan areas will become overpopulated, resulting in resource strain. Now, we have just 9 years to reach these goals, and it's not going to happen. However, I would like to provide some examples of hope that are going on across the globe. It is estimated that nearly 70% of the world's population will live in cities by 2050. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals highlight the need to ensure these cities are safe and sustainable for all. Around the world, cities are innovating to help tackle challenges such as climate change. Projects include tiny urban forests that could help combat climate change, sponge cities that soak up floodwater, and vertical forests that tower into the sky. And according to the Sustainable Development Goals by the UN, goal number 11 is sustainable cities and communities. And this includes reducing the adverse effects of natural disasters, ensuring everyone has access to green spaces, and addressing the environmental impacts of cities. And here are some innovative ways that cities are rising to the challenge. For example, sponge cities. In China, concrete neighborhoods are being interlaced with green spaces that can naturally detain and filter water. The same concept is employed in Singapore, which has been dubbed the Garden City due to its abundance of greenery. Vertical forests. In Milan, Italy, architects have done the same with tree cover, creating a vertical forest on 2 residential tower blocks. Similar projects are underway in cities in Switzerland, the Netherlands, and China. The 20-minute neighborhood. With Melbourne, Australia leading the way, it wants residents to always be within easy reach of things like shops, business services, education, or leisure facilities. Miniature urban forests are springing up on patches of land in urban areas around the world, using a method inspired by Japanese temples. The green train track. Regeneration projects are also at the forefront of sustainable city initiatives, and they are certainly on the right track in Bangkok, where the shortage of green spaces on an old elevated railway line has been turned into a city park. And smarter commuting. In Israel, a new app could hold the key to creating faster, cleaner, and more convenient commutes. The system was initially introduced to help COVID-19, but if implemented permanently, it is thought it could save up to $25 million a year. And through my research, I ran across a very interesting project that's currently taking place in Africa. It's called the Great Green Wall. And the Great Green Wall is one of the most inspirational and urgent movements of our times. This African-led initiative aims to grow 8,000 kilometers of New World wonder across the entire width of the continent to transform the lives of millions living on the front line of climate change. The Great Green Wall is Africa's flagship initiative to combat the increasing desertification on the land. Led by the African Union, the initiative aims to transform the lives of millions of people by creating a mosaic of green and productive landscape across North America. Now, I provided a link for the video. If it doesn't work, I really would like you guys to just go on YouTube and just look up the Great Green Wall. Spend 5 or 10 minutes on one video. It really is inspiring just to see people across the globe trying to combat climate change in their own way. So just a really inspiring story. So please check it out, the Great Green Wall. Okay, so some careers in sustainable economic development. There are several careers in sustainable economic development, and these were found at environmentalscience.org. And of course, there is the AAG website as well. So please check both of these out, environmentalscience.org and AAG. But just to run through a few of these, agroforester, energy manager, a solar engineer, sustainability specialist, water resource engineer. So there are several careers that geographers can go into. And just to go through a few of these, sustainability program coordinator, which is in charge of the design and implementation of logistics of an organization's sustainability program. Agroforestry, or an agroforester, is a system to design and create a more sustainable and ecologically system of managing both woodlands and agricultural crops. An energy manager helps to determine the best ways to conserve energy on existing and future projects. Soil conservation technician assists soil conservationists in the implementation of complete resource management system plans. And a solar engineer, with technology decreasing the price of solar energy to that of fossil fuels and increasing demands of solar techs, will be heavily sought after. And there are obviously several more, which is great for geographers. And again, please check out the website environmentalscience.org or the AAG website for more information on sustainable economic development careers. So to conclude, again, sustainable economic development as a mainstream movement aims to address the problems of production, distribution, and consumption characterizing relations between Western and developing countries, meeting the resource needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to do the same. Or in other words, sustainable economic development is an applied critique of humanity's overconsumption of the planet's resources. And some of the goals and initiatives adopted by the UN in 2015 were to sustain agricultural production, conserve natural resources, protect biodiversity, broaden access to clean water while decreasing loss of arable land, prevent and mitigate natural disasters, reduce poverty, adapt to projected climate changes, rely on more efficient, cleaner, and affordable energy sources. And again, a few of the careers that you might want to look into are sustainability program coordinator, agroforestry, energy manager, soil conservation technician, and a solar engineer. And if the links aren't working, please go on environmentalscience.org, the AAG website, and please go and watch a video on YouTube about the Great Green Wall in Africa. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit, and thank you for your time.